Hey everybody, welcome back to Gideon Stuff. Today we're talking about the CJRB Feldspar and whether or not it's still a good EDC option in 2021. As you can tell, I like the Feldspar. I have 4 of them sitting out here right now, 2 smalls and 2 larges. This is a knife that I have said in the past is my favorite budget knife, and we're going to talk about today whether or not I still think that. The budget knife world has changed a lot, even since I got into the hobby, which wasn't super long ago. There have been so many innovations, and there have been just so many amazing knives put out there in the budget category that sometimes there are some that fall to the edge and don't really get, as much appreciation as they used to. I remember, heck, even when I was still first getting into the hobby, the Rat 1 was one of the most recommended knives ever. And while I still think it's a good knife, I definitely do feel like it's been surpassed by a lot of things. So, let's talk about the Feldspar. The Feldspar came out, I believe, in 2019. And there's 2 different sizes, the small and the large. And when I got a Feldspar, this was the first one I ever got. For me, the big selling point was that it was a thumb stud knife on bearings. And maybe this is just me remembering wrong, but I kind of think this was one of the first budget knives to do that. It had to have the thumb stud and bearing combo. And so when I got it, that was, for me, the cool new thing. And then as I started using the knife a lot more, I realized there were so many other things to be excited about. It has these beautiful contoured G10 scales with inset liners, pivot collar, just absolutely fantastic. This knife does a lot of things right. You have excellent access to the liner, the action is good, you can reverse flick it, like that. I like the pivot collar's reversible clip. The clip is recessed. On this is one of the originals that did not have the flat screws. I think all of the rest of them do, especially on these 2 minis. They are like that. So that's definitely something I think they've changed since the older version. But this became a knife that I carried with me everywhere, and I just really enjoyed using it. The blade was very nice, a very nice performing. You have this very pointy drop point. Behind the edge thickness, it's a flat grind. It's not super thin behind the edge. It's about 20 thousandths. On the smaller ones, I think it's about 18 or 17 thousandths. Not the sliciest things ever, but they perform very well. The ergos allow you to get some powerful pushes. The blade stock isn't super thick, so you get good slices. And overall, just a very good performing knife. So this was the first one I had. Then I got a mini. And these 2 are both in D2 steel. And the mini, I'll admit, I do like a little bit less than the big one because the pocket clip bothers me a little bit more. But it still has so many of the features that make the larger version great. Good action. The clip on this one is actually better. As you can see, there's no screws there. The CJRB clip, I think, is underrated. I think it's a great clip. It doesn't look super fancy, but I think it works fantastically. Pivot collar, contoured scales. This one is a Knife Center exclusive with burlap micarta, which is pretty cool. So yeah, I enjoyed that knife. Then, Blade HQ came out with an exclusive with S35VN steel. And this is a mini, and I dyed the scales. But this was the knife that made me fall in love with the mini. I started carrying this knife and using him, and yeah, this is a fantastic knife. Really, really great. And then I had another large Feldspar that is not here anymore, and then I got this one. This one is an AR RPM9, a steel that I really, really love. And this version of the Feldspar came out, I believe, in 2021. It's pretty different. Besides just having a different blade steel, it also has flat scales instead of the contoured scales that are kind of a staple in the family, but the ergonomic lines are still fantastic, and still love this knife. So what are my complaints with the Feldspar? Well, on the bigger one, I complained about the the screws a little bit. Can be a little bit of an issue. On the smaller one, I complained that the pocket clip dug into my hand. That still holds true. On the big one and the small one, I've complained about the jimping or the lack thereof. But all in all, I've never really found a whole lot to complain about. I've handled a lot of budget knives recently. Civivis, QSPs, Ganzos, Bestecs. The list goes on and on and on. And while there are a lot of knives that I feel like are very good, the Bestech Paladin being a fantastic example of a knife that I think this is one of the very best budget EDCs you can get, the Feldspar still kept finding its way into my pocket. The Feldspar is obviously very popular. You know, Knife Center and Blade HQ have done exclusives. Other companies have done exclusives. And the reason I think the Feldspar has stayed so competitive, especially compared to anything else in CJRB's lineup, is because of two things. One, it's fantastic design. Obviously, that's going to be something that attracts people to a knife, is if it's a good design. Functional, as well as attractive. I think the Feldspar has both of those. Another thing is that these are very well priced for what you get. Contour G10, D2. I recently saw a site, I can't remember where it was, selling the large Feldspar for $29.95. And they had the small one listed for, I think it was $25 or $24.95. That is fantastic value, because this knife feels a lot more expensive. I'll be honest, if this said Civivi on it, I think this knife would cost $70. But as it is, the fact that you can get such a high quality knife for $35, I think is what most of these go for, definitely under $40, is a testament to just how amazing the knife world is getting today. This is an insanely good knife for a budget. So to answer the question that I first brought up in this video, is the Feldspar still a good option in 2022 for an EDC folder, especially in the budget category? And I consider budget to be under $75. The answer is yes. If you do not have a Feldspar, I think you should get one. It holds up very well today. This knife here has been used. I got this one back in 2019. It has been used and abused for a long time. Or did I get this one in 2020? Can't remember. But I've been using it a lot. It's been holding up amazingly. Good stonewash here. The D2 from CJRB, in my experience, holds up really well. Build quality is good. Very, very nice ergos. If you're more tactical, guess what? They have some out there for you too now. I would definitely put the CJRB Feldspar up against any budget knife coming out today. Any new budget knife. I always compare them to the Feldspar. Whenever I get a new budget knife, my first thing is to compare it to the Feldspar and see how it holds up. And I'll be honest, a lot of knives sometimes just don't hold up as good as this one does. But this video is getting a little bit rambly. The point that I want you to take away from this is that the CJRB Feldspar is an amazing knife. This is a knife that in 25 years people are still going to be talking about. I bet CJRB will still be making them if CJRB is still around. This will become like the Buck 110. It will be the knife. Everyone will be talking about it. It'll be legendary. But definitely, if you don't have one, pick one up. I don't think you'll regret it. Large or small, whatever steel you choose, I think you'll be in good shape. I don't know if there's any more of the Blade HQ exclusives available. I hope there are some in the future. But anyways, that's going to be it from me today, guys. If you liked the video, leave it a like, comment below, and subscribe. If you didn't, leave me a comment telling me why not. I'd love to hear it. And I've been Gideon. I'll see you in the next one.